Do you want to turn boring old patio stones into pieces of garden art, maybe like this one, or this one, or even this one? I'm on a mission to commemorate some of our big holidays and travels, one patio slab at a time. It's pretty straightforward. You don't need lots of specialist equipment, though you do need a bit of time. The only specialist piece of equipment you need to turn a boring old concrete slab into a piece of artwork is a set of these. Let me show you. So they're just pincers, and they are really, really useful for nibbling away at bits of mosaic if you want to get them into a specific shape. They're not expensive, and to use them, you have to really hold the end to get sort of leverage, and then I'll show you later. So other things, you need your slab, say that will be £4 from your local DIY shop. And you will need adhesive, tile adhesive. Make sure it's suitable for outside use. I think in America you call it thin set. You'll need some grout. Grout is what you put on at the end, fills in all the gaps, makes it look really lovely and neat. We'll talk about that as we go through. You may have both those things lurking in your garage or shed from some your last bathroom makeover extravaganza. You will also need, of course, the mosaic pieces. Now, what you use is really up to you. Traditionally, you use things like this. They're called tesserae. Little squares, couple of centimetres square, about an inch square. And they are porcelain or glass, and you get those from specialist shops. They work out really expensive, but they are beautiful, and you can buy them in any colour you want. So if it's a very specific design you've got in mind, you can buy those. You can buy mixed pots of these little glass tiles. They're only a centimetre square, and you can buy a mixed pot like this, 1 kilogram, which would be more than enough for a paving slab. Just get those online. Costs about £15. These ones I have sorted into sort of aqua colours and taken the others out. Now that's the problem, that it's a mixed set, so somewhat inevitably you won't have enough of the colour you really want. That's life. But that's a good option. You can also get bags of mixed random pieces. These are glass. You can get ceramics. The good thing is they've all had their edges smoothed. So if you want to do sort of crazy paving type mosaic, these are great. Again, unfortunately, sometimes you're just not going to have the colours you're after. It's luck of the draw. For 2 kilograms, I sort of £18–19 on Amazon. I think it was 2 kilograms. Anyway, a lot, more than enough for your stone. The other alternative is to use broken china, and that's a whole technique on its own. It's called pique assiette, broken plate. Potentially, if you've just done a bathroom renovation, or you could just use leftover tiles. It is deeply satisfying to whack a tile with a hammer and get lots of little broken bits. Go carefully for your eyes. Please wear some sort of protection, because little shards are very sharp. What I'm going to try on this project is some of this. Mosaic tiles are very popular at the moment. I just went to local DIY place. I think this cost £3, and that's quite a lot for £3. They're designed for your kitchen or bathroom. Maybe you'll have some of those, or some friend has got them left over from something. You could get those from free on your local Facebook group. When they come, they're already stuck onto a mesh like this, but you can just peel them off and cut them and use them like ordinary tiles. Now these are glass. They are designed for indoor use, so how they will withstand the elements, I don't know. I really can't say. We'll try, we'll see. In mosaics, there are 2 basic methods. There's called the indirect and the direct method. The direct, you just put the glue on the thing, you stick your tile on it, and then when it's finished, you put a bit of grout to neaten everything up. But because we're going to walk on our paving slab, we want the surface to be quite smooth and even. So we're going to do the indirect method. And this, you stick everything face down on a piece of paper. When you've stuck everything there, make sure you use water-soluble glue. You flip it over and embed it in your tile adhesive. Let it dry, peel off the paper, or soak off the paper, and everything will be at the same level, even if you're using different sort of thicknesses of tiles. That might sound a little bit complicated, but it's not. Let's get going. So we need to decide our design. I am going to make a Japanese paving stone, and this is the symbol Niwa, which is the word for garden in Japanese. Why, you may say? Well, we've just come back from Japan and I want to celebrate this. I like a border, so I put a line where I think there might be a border. You can do a flower, you can do any design, but this is the process. Because mine is writing, I need to be careful because it's going to be reversed. So I've put mine on a thick bit of tracing paper, because then I can simply turn it over, stick all my mosaics on the back, and when it's flipped over onto the actual stone, it will be the right way round. If you are doing a design that doesn't matter which way round it is, then you could use something like brown paper, just like parcel paper. I've certainly used the wrapping paper that all those Amazon parcels come in, just something firm enough that by the time it's covered with stuck-on stones, it's not going to rip. I've seen some people use like sticky back plastic and put that down, because then you can put your design underneath and it shows through. But I know in my house that sticky back plastic will be covered in cat hair before you even look at it. So I don't like something that's sticky all the time, because with this, I can just do a little bit here and a little bit there. If you're interested in doing a Japanese stone, I'll put this design onto the post section of YouTube, and you're absolutely welcome to use it. So my cunning plan is actually to use a whole load of different materials just to show you what the possibilities are. I'm going to use these little tesserae round a border, and I'm going to alternate white and red like that, because I haven't got enough red. I'm going to then do some real crazy paving bits in the background with these white broken tiles, and they will fit all round like that. I'm going to use these bathroom tiles for the black lettering, and then I'm going to use strips of this for the border. I'm going to start with the black lettering because I think those are going to be the most fiddly bits. The actual border is going to be so easy. Literally, I'm going to cut strips, and that is going to go around here. I have deliberately taken the tails of the characters out into the border because I thought design-wise that would be nice. So I am going to have to cut just a couple of the tiles so that it goes round. So to use these little ones, if they have come on a mesh, literally you just peel them off like that. And then we need to break them into pieces. Say, please protect your eyes because this is glass and it might go anywhere. So you've got your little pinchers, and say if it's a bit haphazard whether this cuts straight or not, I just like to overlap the edge by about 2-3 millimeters, hold it firmly. I hold these right at the end to get as much leverage as possible, and then click, and it roughly breaks it in half. If it goes right, sometimes it goes off at an odd angle, but if it goes off at an odd angle, that is no bad thing because we're going to need some odd angles. Ooh. There, odd angle, as if by magic. But you see, that actually might be the perfect bit for a pointy end, and we might be able to use that elsewhere. I'll come back when I've broken up loads more. So I've cut and placed pieces. I haven't stuck them down yet because I wanted to sort of show you what it might look like. And you can see they're all face down. I stick the pieces down with ordinary white glue, PVA glue. Do make sure it's water soluble or you won't be able to soak off the paper. And literally put a dab of glue. Try not to use too much, just to make your life a little bit easier in the future. But of course it's got to be enough to actually hold it in place, so it's a bit of fine balance. As you go through, if you need to alter your design, maybe cut complete ones in half so it's just a bit more interesting, you can do that. Oh, those are all stuck down. Let's do an easy bit. If you're doing a border like me, don't peel all the pieces off the mesh, because keeping them on the mesh makes the whole placement super easy. So I've cut them into strips and then I just place them, and I'm fiddling about a bit just to make sure that whole squares fit along the side, again to save having to cut any individual bits. I have had to cut a few bits just where my design goes out into the border, but I've cut little corners and placed those round carefully and stuck those in place. And here's the inner border. Again, I'm just putting them face down because they do have little ridges on the back and I want the surface to be all nice and flat. I stopped for lunch and I had a plan B suddenly pop in my head. I thought I could use these stones to sort of emphasise the sinewy lines around the writing. And I was going to use my little bits of broken tile to fill in the spaces here. But actually, they are so much thicker, I'm wondering if I'm going to cause myself real problems. So we then went to plan C. These are leftover bits from doing that toucan. And I think I could use all these little bits just to fill in the gaps and do the crazy paving, because I wanted to show you that sort of crazy paving. We've slightly done it in the word. Then we've got those sinuous lines. We've got the very standard blocky round the back. So I think all these different textures will be rather fun. My slight concern is that I really haven't got enough of these pieces. So I've picked out ones that are actually very pale greeny blue as well. And this is what I'm saying, that you just have to improvise when you buy these sort of job lots. Let's give it a go. And if needs be, I will go to plan D. Actually, I think plan D, to be honest, will be going back to plan A. And if I haven't got enough of these, or I don't think it's going to look good, then I will simply go back to using the tile. Now, the good thing about this sort of, say, crazy paving type thing is I'm not going to have to cut any of these bits. I am just going to place them. And if they fit, they fit. And if they don't, they don't. So they shouldn't take too long, but come back when I've finished. Or when I'm crying because I've run out of bits. I'm on the very last little patch, and if we look over there, that's my last lot of the white stones. So we are just gonna make it. Oh, that was a bit tight. There we go. Follow your instructions on your adhesive. Mine says that you've got to mix it on a ratio of 5:1. I've got 800 grams of powder, so I need about 160 of water. I reckon about 1 kilo or 2 pounds of adhesive is going to be good for this size of paving slab, which is 45 centimetres. And then you have to mix it. Now, adhesive comes in different colours. I happen to have grey. To be honest, the colour doesn't actually matter because you're going to put grout on top and that'll cover it up. You can get ready mixed adhesives. So if you're just doing, one project, that's great. Get that. It's more economic to get a big bag, but it seems to only come in sort of 10 kilogram bags. It's, a lot. So if you're only doing one project and not sure whether you're going to become hooked on mosaics, just get a smaller ready mixed quantity, I guess. This is a mucky process. Do it outside if you can. Be careful with your hands. This is quite alkaline and it will dry your fingers. When your adhesive is ready, we apply it. And it's a bit like icing a cake. Just spread it all over. Now you need a tool to spread it so that you get a really even layer. It's just a notched tool. Be careful of the edges, corners, because those are the bits that always struggle. So I've got that really even layer, and now I have to very, very carefully invert this and centre it. If any bits fall off, don't panic, we can always stick them back on afterwards. And no one need ever know, just you and me will know. So we're centering it, I'm just doing that by feel. Make sure it's on. And then I'm pressing it down all over into the adhesive. That feels, right, so it's a bit fell off. Ooh, 2 bits have fallen off. That is annoying. I could feel a lump there. There, we'll patch that up. So smooth it down because we want a level surface and we want some of the adhesive to squidge up into the gaps. So that it grips those tiles. Now I can feel a bit of a lump here, which feels like something maybe has got displaced. If I try and take it off now, we're going to get in such a mess. So I think I will just let that dry, get the paper off and do any repairs that I need to. So it's had its 3 hours and I'm going to wet the back of the paper and hope that this glue starts to dissolve. If any of the mosaic does move as I take the paper off, I'm not going to panic. We can always stick it back. Let me show you what to do if you have a bit of a disaster like I have in this area. Some of the stones moved and we obviously just didn't, well, they just didn't stick. Dig away any lumpy bits of adhesive, make life a little bit easier for you. Try not to disturb any of the stones around. Let me just take out the loose material. When we grout it, the grout will hold everything in place. So don't panic about that. And then I would apply very liberally some glue to that area. And I've put so much glue in there that it's almost like a, I don't know, self-leveling compound. And we just need it, say, to hold things in place when we grout them. And no one need ever know our guilty secret that everything fell out. So panic over. And we'll let this glue settle overnight to grout tomorrow. It's the next day and I think my repairs have worked. So they are temporary, but I have grout and I have a glove. Grout will fill in all these gaps. It makes the lines look a lot neater and it also secures the stones. It comes in all sorts of colours, from white, cream, I've got grey, through to black. You can colour your own grout using a bit of acrylic colour if you want a tint. I'm going to apply it carefully because that some of these stones might be a little bit fragile at the moment. So you can either apply it with sort of a squeegee and you put it on and you squish it in to all those gaps. I say I'm going to use my fingers, and I have got a glove because grout is very alkaline. It will dry up your skin, and you want to squish it down in all the gaps so that it waterproofs it, it makes it look better, it protects it, all the stuff. I was so relieved the stones appear to have stuck. I was quite upset yesterday because this is the area I repaired here, so I'm going to be really careful. But things not always perfect, are they? So knowing that you can actually repair things if things have gone wrong is not a bad thing to show in a video. So shall we pretend I did it on purpose? Now, what colour grout you choose is, of course, highly dependent on your design. A white grout brightens the whole of the design. A black can be quite dramatic and really emphasise the fluid lines. So do consider it carefully because it will really change the look of your piece. Another thing to think about is edges. We want to cover, in my case, to cover the mesh that the edge tiles came on. But do think about edges. Now, paving slab, you're not going to see the edges, it's going to be sunk in. But if you're going to see the edges, say on a stepping stone, you may wish to carry your mosaics round the edge and therefore grout the edge as well. Once again, follow the instructions for your grout. Mine says let it go matte. I reckon that's only 10-15 minutes. Then it says clean off with a wet sponge and smooth off all the lines. And I love this bit. It's rather mucky. Do change your water regularly, but suddenly you start to see the pattern. If you happen to be doing a really huge mosaic, sorry if my head's in the way, bigger than this, only grout enough, or only grout an area that you can clean off in sort of 10 to 20 minutes because you don't want the grout to dry on the surface. If you've never grouted before, you may be slightly panicking at this point because it all looks so mucky, but don't worry, just be patient. And at the end, you may end up with a bit of a film over the stones, or indeed you will. But once it's all dry, a damp cloth over that will bring it all up. Even at this point, you can see how the grout just pulls it all together and it starts to emphasize the lines, particularly like these more sinuous lines, really liking how the border is coming out. I think I'm going to be quite happy once this is cleaned off. So there we go. I've given it a final polish. The grout will take a little while to dry and will lighten slightly. But there is my Japanese inspired garden art to commemorate our trip and to bring a little bit of colour and pattern to a quiet corner of the garden. I hope you've seen how you can use sort of everyday materials, and with only the only specialist bit of equipment was those pincers to cut your tiles, and you can do all sorts with mosaics. Have fun. For me, I've now got to think of a slab design for Thailand, and I think I've got an idea. But of the three I've done so far, which is your favourite? Do tell me in the comments.